This thing comes out in a week and it doesn't even have an IMDb page yet. Kia ora, my name's Kimmy and I talk about F1 and the world's second worst accent, and I don't have Twitter, so we're gonna have to go take a look at what Bluesky is saying about the Kimi Antonelli documentary. Not a lot, apparently. And when you do actually go and check out the database of everything media, you'll also find that there's sweet FA on there about it, apart from an article from the Hollywood Reporter dated today, I guess, US time. Living in the future's weird, okay? And that article, well, it goes a little something like this. Mercedes' much discussed Formula One driver change is the focus of The Seat, a documentary zooming to Netflix for a release next month. The streaming giant has landed director Kyle Thrasher's 45-minute film examining Mercedes' decision that was announced last year to promote 18-year-old Kimi Antonelli as its driver after Lewis Hamilton's exit. Hailing from WhatsApp and Mercedes-AMG Petronas F1 team, The Seat is set for global release on May 5th. The Seat offers a rare access into the workings of the Mercedes team and provides an exclusive look at the private conversations through the messaging platform WhatsApp that were at the centre of the decision. The documentary gives insight into the life of Antonelli as he became the third youngest rookie in Formula One history, sharing background on his close family and Italian roots. A trailer that is exclusive to the Hollywood Reporter can be seen below. To be fair, I saw it on YouTube, immediately. So anyway, after a couple of corporate sounding quotes from both Toto and Kimi, it goes on to say this. The Seat is the second original film created through WhatsApp and the Mercedes team's ongoing partnership. It marks the first WhatsApp film to launch on Netflix. The Seat was executive produced by WhatsApp Modern Arts and Radical Media. Okay, cool, fuck, whatever. So look, I'm gonna be honest, I had to go and look up the first original film, and it turns out the same team produced a short Lewis Hamilton piece last year called Push Push. I don't think I'm alone in being in the dark about that one because it only got 500,000 views, which is fewer than some P1 with Matt and Tommy videos. That's actually a third of the views that P1 got for the Carlos Sainz interview last year. So safe to say Mercedes and WhatsApp probably could have done a better job promoting that one. And honestly, original film is a bit of a push. It's basically 10 minutes of Lewis sitting down having a chat with a bunch of marginalised teenagers, which would have been a good watch if that was the extent of it, but the problem is the whole thing's kind of undermined by the fact that it's just an extended WhatsApp ad with some inspiration porn voiceover that's played off like it's something Lewis actually said during the conversation when it is very, very clearly added in post. But hey look, that criticism kind of beside the point. Lewis is a 7-time world champion. He just won the British Grand Prix in one of the most emotional victories in recent memory. And he got 10 minutes. So why suddenly is there a full 45-minute documentary being released about a kid who's only done 5 races? There's no shade on Kimi, but seriously. And to answer that question, I think we just need to roll back the clock a little bit. 11 years back to 2014, when Red Bull signed then 16-year-old Max Verstappen to race for Toro Rosso the following season. We all know the law, we all know Toto's forever haunted by not being the one to close that deal. We all know that he's so obsessed with Max that he can't keep the guy's name out of his mouth, whether it's criticising his wheel-to-wheel antics or publicly courting him in the media. Back in 2014, Toto was already dealing with the rapidly deteriorating relationship between Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. He's already probably realised this isn't going to be a long-term thing, that the whole thing's going to fall apart sooner rather than later, and he needs a backup plan should one of his 2 incredibly talented guys decide to go, fuck this shit, I'm out, and it would be beneficial to find someone young who he can mould into the perfect number 2 to whoever ended up coming out on top of the intra-team Cold War, right? Very, very long. I think that was all one sentence. I probably need to breathe more. Anyway, unfortunately for Toto, Jos Verstappen has absolutely zero interest in his kid being a number 2, and Red Bull comes along with promises that offer more potentially favourable outcomes, even if Max isn't in that prestige seat right from the outset. So, Max goes on to become the youngest driver in F1 history, the youngest podium finisher in F1 history, the youngest winner in F1 history, and not the youngest world champion in F1 history, but Red Bull already had that one ticked off, so whatever I guess. I'm sorry, but it would never not be funny that Lance Stroll still sits runner-up for 2 of those records. Speaking of records, trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the 21st of August when my channel turns 2, so subscribe. Thanks. With Kimi, Toto managed to do what he failed to do in 2014. He closed the deal, he got the kid in the seat, and now, look, here's a cheap way to market one of our partners, and provide a bunch of inspiration porn to a broader audience by milking the thing for all it's worth in the form of a 45-minute WhatsApp ad filled with contrived conversations that never actually happened. I mean, that's my assumption anyway. I'm not making any accusations here, but I don't know, the suspension of disbelief, it's a challenge. It gives Chico welcome to Red Bull vibes, that's all I'm saying. What appears to be happening here is Toto Wolff is making a valiant attempt at positioning Kimi as the new Lewis. Just some kid who worked hard and struggled his way through karting in the lower series, who finally got his shot at the big time, thanks to a bold choice from a brave team principal. A kid who's got the whole world on his shoulders now that he's expected to fill Lewis Hamilton's racing boots. Except anyone who knows racing knows that Kimi's story isn't anything like Lewis's. Kimi Antonelli is the son of a man who owns a racing team that's competed in multiple categories and currently in Formula 4. He's been a Mercedes junior since he was 11 years old. And sure, Lewis was signed to the Mercedes McLaren program young as well, but 1998 was a different time for driver academies. Kimi getting the seat wasn't so much a surprise as it was confirmation of something everybody was expecting. Honestly, we were all just fed up with waiting for Toto to say the magic words no matter how much he kept dropping Max into the conversation. And I don't think any pundit or commentary YouTuber had anyone other than Kimi Antonelli at Mercedes in their 2025 seat predictions, going like all the way back to the end of 2023. Part of the framing in the trailer for the seat is a quote from Toto that goes something along the lines of, "We need to keep this quiet." Yes, I did do that in Toto's accent in 3 takes, which is a clear indicator that this deal was done long before the media officially knew. They knew. They fucking knew, let's not be naive here. And what that says without actually saying it is we want you to believe that Kimi is better than Max. Kimi is the next huge thing, we promise. Check out this Kimi Antonelli guy. You need to get in early so you can say 10 years from now when he's a multiple-time world champion that you've been a fan ever since he crashed out at Parabolica in his first FP1 back in 2024. We need Kimi to be the next big thing because holy fuck, Lewis was a huge draw card, Jim Ratcliffe is a twat, so who knows what's going to happen with Ineos even if we keep saying it's all fine. And now that the pressure's on for us to actually get some prize money in the bag because, well, shit, bro. Mercedes needs to get Kimi Antonelli's face out there, and a lot. And it starts with building hype. Get the casual Drive to Survive viewer invested in this kid. Use those viewership numbers to draw in some new sponsors, sponsors who sell actual consumer goods that can slap Kimi's face all over their campaigns instead of companies that are almost entirely B2B and force updates that crash entire global airline route networks. Because maybe things aren't as stable behind the scenes as we're making it out to be. Mercedes is cashing in on their long-term investment, make no mistake. The pressure isn't just on Kimi to go out there and drive, but to be the new face of their brand, their new Lewis Hamilton. Which sure, it might work, but Lewis has a very specific appeal to those marginalised kids that interviewed him in the very first original film. Lewis was an outlier, a black kid in a white sport who didn't come from money or a motorsport empire. His first ever teammate was 2-time world champion and known psychological terrorist Fernando Alonso. He missed out on a world championship in his rookie year by 1 point. Mercedes had one of the most famous sports people on the entire planet as the keystone for their entire team for 11 years and now they're scrambling. And sure, maybe Kimi Antonelli is truly a generational talent. I mean, he's been doing a pretty damn good job so far this season. You can't really argue otherwise. But Mercedes isn't the powerhouse it once was, and Toto Wolff has been increasingly erratic in his behaviour ever since 80-21 appeared to do irreparable damage to his psyche. Behaviour that stinks of a CEO who's currently suffering from frog and pot syndrome. And all this points to one thing, in my opinion at least. Mercedes, they're in the shit. Thanks for watching to the end. You're awesome. Like the fucking video. Cool. We have to keep this quiet.